Hi everyone, my name is Enna. Today I am redrawing one of my first ever D&D characters, Riptide. The original drawing I did a few years ago. The entire video will be a speed painting of my redraw. Now, technically my first ever D&D character was an elf named Enna, which is where I got my channel name. That D&D game was part of an after-school club and I only played her for an hour, so I don't tend to count her. 2 or 3 years later, I made and played Riptide. I am redrawing her character reference sheet here to see how much I've improved and to clean up parts of her character design. I have a lot more drawings of Riptide, so I'm probably going to break up Riptide's story between those different drawings. Since this is a drawing made of her pregame, I will be focusing on her origins, her character, and details in my design. It's been a few years since I played Riptide, so for all of these videos, it will be from memory, from character sheets, pieced together messages, or the very sparse notes I took. So, Georgie Riptide Rayner is a 20-year-old water genasi who has lived her whole life on the high sea. Her mother, Sasha Rayner, is a captain of a pirate ship called the Aurora. Riptide gets the nickname as a young girl. While the ship was in a port, she goes swimming along a beach and gets pulled out by a Riptide current. And if she wasn't a water genasi, she probably would have drowned. Eventually, a crewmate grabs her, an Aarakocra named Michael, who serves as sort of an uncle figure during her early life. Since she couldn't have been in any real danger, it turns into a bit of a joke, and the nickname Riptide sticks. At age 17, she inherits the title of captain as her mother retires from the role and instead works simply among the crew. Um, Soon after that, Riptide forms a casual semi romance with a captain of another ship named Celine Palmer, and they build up trust with each other, often assisting each other in robberies. Um, on the final heist they have together, Riptide promises to back up Celine on what seems to be a merchant ship with little to no defense, and she keeps the Aurora nearby for an ambush. That ship is not on time, and Riptide is impatient and easily distracted, so she sees another very easy looking target and she decides to just give it a quick plunder, assuming it will be a quick hit just for a little bonus cash. The other ship is a lot faster than she's expecting, and she eventually catches up, but she isn't there to help Celine when everything goes wrong. I will talk more about Celine in a separate video, because I have an old drawing of her that needs to be updated, so I'm going to skip over most of the details of why Celine does everything the way she does. All that's important for this is she ends up feeling betrayed and angry after this. So Celine and the rest of the remains of her crew attack the Aurora. Riptide fends off a lot of the weakened crew and doesn't notice Celine's absence until she hears screams, and she abandons the fight to find Celine standing over her mother. Riptide and Celine battle, and in the process, Riptide loses her arm. She also gets her nose broken and gets scarred up. Riptide is brought to the brink of death, and terror overtakes her. She crawls away, just holding on to life, and hides. And she waits until the sounds of fighting has stopped. She finds over half her crew gone and many of the survivors maimed. She couldn't keep facing her crew after that, from the shame of her cowardice, her loss. So she decides to leave and only tells Michael, who makes a prosthetic arm for her. Riptide leaves as soon as it's finished and wanders ship to ship for coin for a few years, which is eventually how she ends up on the trading ship where the campaign starts. Um, I don't have a copy of Riptide's original level 1 character sheet, but for a very long time she was not a good rogue. I did not make her well balanced at all. And I'll get into that in another video, because it was rough. Now, to point out little design details, this one isn't exactly little, but Riptide's gun used to be her mother's. You can see her mother's name engraved on the side of the gun. She did not inherit this as captain. This wasn't a gift. She takes it off her mother's body with the idea of she'd shoot Celine with her mother's gun to get revenge, and that never happens. In this image, Riptide has two rings. One is a black ring on her middle finger because she's ace, and the other is her mother's ring, which she would have taken along with the gun. Um, In my original drawing, I did not have Riptide's nose broken. That was a change I decided to make because I wanted to add something more to her face. She also used to have a very short and round face. I wanted to give her a little bit more of a severe look. So I narrowed her face, I made it more rectangular, and I lengthened it. And then I gave the broken nose for some character. Um, I have the new photo, very zoomed out for me, so it looks a lot more smooth from a distance, but it healed wrong. It's broken. It's crooked. Um, Also, her scars were not well done in the original drawing, and they look too irritated, too fresh. So new scars are a little more cleaner. And I tried taking more into consideration what is happening in a fight to be causing these marks. Um, and then for the full body, um, one of the things I changed was hairstyle. In the original drawing, Riptide had her hair up, which is weird because I never thought of her as somebody who'd have her hair up, which is a strange thing to have in mind. But she also, you'll notice with the hair, in the original drawing, she doesn't have those gray tips. That is something I added in most of my subsequent drawings of Riptide because my dungeon master, they made the most beautiful drawing of Riptide, and at the ends of her hair, it's kind of like that white part of the wave when the water's crashing, you know? And I just thought it looked really good, and I couldn't imitate that effect. So it's kind of like a homage to it, or like a bad imitation. I added those little gray tips at the bottom, which I feel like adds like something to the look, you know? um, I also, in the original drawing, Riptide's sleeve is torn off, so you can see how rusted and torn up her arm kind of is because she kind of ignores it. It's in a state of disrepair. Um, I changed that in the new version. I brought her sleeve all the way down because it didn't make sense for her sleeve to be like torn off. Like it, I preferred having the prosthetic just peeking out. It is just, part of her. It's not something that needs to be on display. Um, I also gave her a holster. She did not originally have a holster, which was silly because she's holding a gun. I feel like she needs a holster, so added a holster. I put a lot more thought into anatomy my second time around, and the stance she's standing in, and the like angles and how like her boots would look. They look a little silly in the original. I also fixed her corset in the new drawing. Because corsets usually button up in the front and then the crisscross tie is in the back for somebody to pull. The buttons in the front is so it is easier for you to get out. So I switched that around for her. I also took how metal would be reflecting into bigger consideration. Things like that. Just small little detail work that made me feel a lot more proud of my secondary drawing, and I'm really glad I went back and did that. Um, I've further altered Riptide's appearance in drawings I'm currently doing, where I've decided that since her lip is like cut, it was probably more of a cut open, and I don't think that probably healed properly. So I decided to give her like a proper split lip in my most current drawings of her, but this is a 2 year old speed drawing that I'm just voicing over. And yeah, that's my original drawing of Riptide. Thank you guys for watching.